On the global stage where Chinese enterprises are expanding overseas, their legitimate acquisitions and investments made with hard cash, alongside the creation of employment opportunities, are regarded as symbols of openness and mutual benefit. Yet a recent sudden storm has laid bare another facet of international politics. The Dutch government directly froze the lawful European assets of Chinese firm Wingtech Technology Company, Limited on grounds of supply chain security. This has brought home the stark realization that so-called rule of law and market rules can be torn to shreds at any moment when confronted with political calculations. This is not merely a corporate crisis, it is a test of the security bottom line for China's overseas interests. Were it not for the official documents before us, many would find it hard to believe that a developed European nation could effectively take over a legally acquired Chinese enterprise with a single ministerial order. On September 30th, the Dutch Ministry of Economic Affairs and Climate Policy abruptly announced comprehensive control over Nexperia under the Goods Availability Act, a little-known law invoked on national security grounds. The decision mandated over 30 global entities of the company to suspend all asset adjustments and personnel appointments for 1 year. While ostensibly safeguarding supply chain security, this effectively froze Chinese control. More astonishingly, this operation was executed almost overnight. The very next day, 3 foreign executives at Nexperia urgently petitioned the court to suspend the duties of Chinese directors. The court swiftly ruled to temporarily strip the Chinese founder of Wingtech Technology of decision-making authority within the besloten vennootschap, with the company now overseen by independent directors appointed by the Dutch government. Wingtech Technology's shareholdings were also transferred to a third-party custodian. This signifies that while Chinese shareholders remain the majority owners on paper, they have effectively lost control of the company. Besloten Vennootschap is no ordinary firm. It originated from Philips Semiconductor's Standard Products division, possessing globally leading discrete device and power chip technologies, particularly holding a pivotal position in automotive electronics. Through this lawful acquisition, Wingtech Technology secured a crucial piece of the automotive chip supply chain for China. In other words, this freeze represents not merely a commercial blow to the enterprise, but a deliberate dismantling of China's technological landscape. Some European media have termed this nationalization under the guise of law, though it is more accurately described as asset plundering by political forces cloaked in legal attire. When the rule of law becomes a tool for major powers to safeguard their interests, smaller nations facing pressure from dominant blocs cease to adhere to established norms. The Netherlands' move is clearly the result of seamless coordination with the United States. Digging deeper reveals this Dutch robbery was no spur-of-the-moment decision. In truth, over the past 2 years, the Dutch economy has languished. Manufacturing output has declined, energy prices have soared, inflation persists, and government finances face immense pressure. Politically, calls for de-risking within the EU have grown louder, making security reviews of Chinese enterprises a form of political correctness. The Dutch government, seeking to appease domestic voters while aligning itself firmly within the US-led bloc, thus decided to target Chinese enterprises. More significantly, the day before the Dutch order was issued, the US had just added Wingtech Technology to its export control list, restricting its access to American-made technology. This temporal coincidence requires little further explanation. Washington finds it inconvenient to exert direct control over European companies, making the Netherlands the ideal enforcer. In truth, the Netherlands has long been a pivotal ally in America's semiconductor blockade. Restrictions on ASML's lithography machine exports have created a bottleneck in China's high-end manufacturing capabilities. Now, even assets acquired through Chinese mergers and acquisitions face being cut off. From an economic perspective, the Netherlands has its own calculations. Nexperia holds substantial intellectual property and patent licenses, representing goldmine-level resources. Should the government formally take over these assets, even if only through temporary custody, it would signify complete control over core technologies and commercial secrets. Moreover, the Netherlands harbors concerns over potential Chinese restrictions on rare earth exports, given ASML's critical equipment production relies heavily on these materials. Thus, the Dutch government's current maneuver serves not only to demonstrate allegiance to the United States, but also to bolster its bargaining position in rare earth negotiations. The Netherlands believes it can pull the wool over everyone's eyes by using national security as a pretext, forgetting that China is no longer the nation that could be carved up at will a century ago. Such actions, cloaked in legalistic rhetoric while serving unjust ends, will not only destroy the Netherlands' international credibility, but also expose it to severe countermeasures from China. The necessity and path of retaliation. The crux of the matter lies not with the Netherlands, but with the precedent it sets. Should such legalized plunder succeed without consequence, it would establish a perilous precedent on the international stage. Any nation could then justify the confiscation of foreign investments under the guise of political expediency. For China, the repercussions would be profound. Currently, Chinese enterprises hold assets totaling trillions of dollars across the United States, Europe, and elsewhere. Holdings in U.S. Treasury bonds and equity investments alone exceed $2 trillion, alongside substantial controlling stakes in manufacturing, real estate, and energy sectors. Should a broken window effect materialize, how could other nations grappling with economic pressures resist emulating such actions? Indeed, such tendencies are already emerging. Last year, Germany blocked a Chinese acquisition of a local chip manufacturer on national security grounds. The UK previously compelled Chinese shareholders to divest their stakes in 5G enterprises, while the US has long targeted companies like TikTok and Huawei with breakup orders or outright bans. Now, the Netherlands has elevated this pattern to new heights by directly invoking state power to freeze Chinese-controlled enterprises. This move constitutes a blatant violation of international economic and trade rules and market order, sending a chill through all Chinese enterprises investing overseas. However, as one of the world's major powers, China possesses ample countermeasures. Legally, while litigation may not yield swift resolutions, appeals through international arbitration, WTO mechanisms, or bilateral investment protection agreements can at least increase the opposing parties' legal costs and prolong their actions. On the economic front, adjustments to tariffs, rare earth export permits, and investment access can serve as warnings to relevant nations. It can be argued that while the Netherlands appears to be freezing the rights of a single enterprise, it is fundamentally undermining the international community's trust in the rules. When capital, law, and politics become conflated, the core global value of investment predictability inevitably crumbles. Therefore, such actions by the Netherlands must not be tolerated. After all, only when every instance of legalized plunder incurs consequences will the world recall that justice and order cannot be manipulated by power. China possesses the full capacity to implement a series of precise and forceful countermeasures, compelling the Netherlands to bear the appropriate costs for such short-sighted political maneuvering.